Hey guys, it's Christian here. Today I'm going to be talking about a very simple concept, and I think it's a very underrated concept. Everyone that's like a young entrepreneur, maybe between the ages to 15 to 25, you probably don't realize how important and how impactful this actually is. And especially if you're like in the 0 to 5K per month, it's like when you're still like in those initial stages, you still haven't realized like how important and how game changing this actually is, right? So I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to explain to you like what you need to understand about it and why you need to have like some level of patience with every business model that you run, right? Because a lot of you guys have this problem where you try one online skill, it doesn't work out in like a month or 2 months, and you want to switch skills, you want to switch online businesses again and again and again, right? A year could pass and you might probably switch businesses like 5, maybe even 10 times, right? So this video is going to help you not only like stay on the same path and avoid, this shiny object syndrome, but also like help you like develop the patience and like the resilience and the persistence necessary in order to actually get results with online business, right? So the first thing I want to tell you guys is like, first, you have to realize that in order to become good at an online business or an online skill, you have to like have a level of like skill, a level of experience, and a level of knowledge, right? For example, when you're at zero, you probably don't know much. You probably barely understand how the business model works and how it makes money. And you pretty much don't know anything about it, right? In the beginning, right? When you're at zero. But when you start to make some money, when you start to make 1,000, 2,000, up to like 5K, 10K, you start to understand it more, right? And the reason why this happens is because with online business, it's really a knowledge game, right? It's about how good you are at the skill, how much you know, and how much experience you have, and how many like trial and errors like have you gone through, right? Because with online business, it's not so much about like time spent or luck, although those luck does play a factor. It's not so much about like the time that you clock in, how many hours you work. It's more about what you know and the value you can provide, right? So because the amount of money you make is like directly correlated to how much value you can provide, that means that the more you know, the better you are, the more valuable you're going to be, and the more money you'll get paid, right? And that's why in the very beginning stages, when you know the least, it's when you make zero. And when you start to get more experience, when you start to become a veteran, you start to make, 10K, 20K and beyond, right? So you need to understand this, right? Understand that in order to make money, you need to become good. You need to learn more and you need to become an expert in the business model, right? So with that now in place, I'm going to talk about the second point, right? Now we know that like you have to gain experience, you have to gain knowledge, you have to gain skill in order to be able to monetize and make the money you want. But how do you actually do that? How do you actually like develop these skills? How do you develop the knowledge base in order to be able to make the money that you want, right? So a lot of times I've talked about in this video or in this YouTube channel I'm in about the concept of, reading books, buying courses, getting mentors, and just investing in your education. And although that is very helpful, right? That's probably like the fastest way for you to make progress. When you invest in education, whether it's just buying a book, buying a course, a video course, or investing in a coaching program, these things shortcut your success, right? I'm not saying that there's no value in this. They're actually extremely valuable, right? But there's like another level of like knowledge that you can only gain with trial and error, with repetition, with volume, right? Because there's some lessons that you can learn from other people, right? But there's some lessons that are better learned yourself, right? There are things that you just don't like enter your mind. They don't click until that you made that mistake, right? And of course, it's best if you can avoid as many mistakes as possible, especially like mistakes that cost you time and money with mentors or with people guiding you. But there's some mistakes and there's some things that you just can't learn without volume, without repetition. And that's the thing that you need to understand, right? When you're at zero, you know very little bit about the business. You're not an expert by any means. Maybe you're a beginner. Maybe you barely know how like the business model works and how to even make money with this business model. That's why you're at zero. And you have to realize that if you want to go from zero to 5K to 10K, 20K and beyond, what you need to do is focus on getting better, focus on learning more, focus on like acquiring the knowledge, the experience, the wisdom necessary to become more valuable, right? Because like I said previously in this video, the more valuable you become, the more skilled you become, the more you can like provide to other people, whether it's, other businesses, if you're doing like service providing, or, if you're a content creator, the more value you can provide to an audience or to a follower base, the more you'll be able to monetize, right? So you need to understand this, right? That the money you make is directly correlated with the value you provide, right? So in order to increase your value, yes, you can shortcut success with education, but you also have to put in a lot of reps. You have to put a lot of volume. You have to send a lot of outreach messages to become good. You have to send a lot of emails in order to be able to sign a client. You need to post a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of videos on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever business model you're doing. You have to do so much volume. You have to do so much repetition. You have to make so many mistakes so that you can learn these lessons, so that you can just get better over time. And you have to do all of this work so that you can move up the ladder, right? So you can go from 0 to 1 to 2K per month, then 5K per month, then 10K per month, 20K, 40K, 50K and beyond, right? So you have to realize that there's just a lot of things that you need to build up, right? A lot of skills you need to acquire, a lot of knowledge you need to gain. And a lot of this knowledge, yes, it's going to work if you have a mentor, if you have education in place to accelerate the progress. But still, you have to put in a lot of volume. This part is like the part that you cannot skip, right? You cannot skip the work. You cannot skip the repetition. You can't skip the volume part of like business. And one of the ways that you can do this is instead of like hesitating, instead of like overthinking, like about doing the perfect outreach message, the perfect video, you want your first video to be perfect. You want your first message that you reach out with for a client, right? You want it to be perfect. You want it to be personalized. You want it to be well written. You want to show it to 5 people and ask them, hey, what's your opinion on this? Like, how can I make this better? You want to tweak it and edit it as much as possible, right? And just you end up overthinking it and spending a lot of time on just one thing, right? And there's a lot of benefits to doing that, but there's way more benefit to just cranking out a dozen or 100, right? So the volume is going to be able to teach you way more than just trying to aim for perfection on one. And it's going to teach you a lot more than, possibly mentors or education could teach you, right? So my advice to you in this video is to not neglect volume, not neglect repetition and just like trial and error, right? Because there's a lot of things that you can learn. There's a lot of progress that you're going to make when you do trial and error, when you do a lot of volume, when you push through and just keep doing repetition after repetition, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you in this video. What I'm trying to tell you in this video is that you need to put in the volume. You need to put in the repetition. That's going to build you up. That's going to make you good. That's going to help you get the experience you need. And it's going to help you move along the ladder, right? You're going to go from 0 to 1K to 2K, 5K, 10K, 20K, right? And it's because of repetition, right? Not just mindless repetition. You have to also be intentional. You have to be smart about it. But repetition can't be skipped, right? This is the part that you cannot skip. Doesn't matter how many mentors you pay. Doesn't matter how many books you read, how many education courses you have. None of these things are going to save you from repetition. Repetition is like one of the things that you just cannot skip, right? It happens in sports, it happens in relationships, it happens in business, money, anything. You just need to have enough repetitions in order to be able to gain volume. That's actually like what makes someone wise when they're older, what makes someone more experienced as the years pass, right? The more years pass, the more decades someone is alive, the more repetitions they've done in their life. So over time, it just becomes easier and it becomes second nature and they understand what to do and what not to do, right? So don't underestimate the level of importance that repetition has and volume and trial and error. And remember that this is part of your journey, right? These reps, especially in the beginning, they're going to be low quality reps. You're going to feel like, wow, I'm so bad at this, or wow, I don't really know what to do. But just know that this part or this stage is necessary. You need to do a lot of bad repetitions, a lot of bad volume, a lot of weak volume, a lot of weak outreach messages, a lot of bad content in order to become good, right? So understand that, know that this is a part you can't skip, accept it, but be excited about it, right? Because when you do repetition, yeah, it's going to be bad in the beginning. Then it's going to get a little bit better. It's going to get a little bit better. And eventually you're going to be good, right? And you'll never be good unless you start with those bad reps, right? So instead of looking at the bad reps you're going to do and how it sucks and how bad it is and how it's not fun and how it's embarrassing to do these reps, just know that when you're good, when you have the money that you want to make, when you've built the business you want, when you have the lifestyle you want, and you're becoming the person you want to become, then it's going to be exciting. Then it's going to be fun. Then it's going to be enjoyable, right? So do you want the rewards? Yes or no, right? If you do want the rewards, then just embrace the bad reps. embrace like the beginnings where you're not going to be so good, where you're going to be a little bit embarrassed and uncomfortable. Embrace all of that and realize that in order to get these rewards, these amazing things that you want, it's just like step one or step two in the journey, right? So anyways, guys, I just wanted to like leave you guys with this very simple video. The goal of these videos is to basically teach you more and to basically kind of like change your mindset, right, around money, business, or just like the work that you do, right? Basically, that's what I'm trying to do with these videos. I want to help you guys as much as possible. And I also want to become a better speaker as well. I make these videos, without much editing because I just want to like speak to you directly, be able to deliver my thoughts in like the best way possible and also teach you guys as much, right? As much as possible, right? So anyways, guys, if you like these videos, make sure you like the video because when you have a like on the video, it's going to recommend it to more people. More people are going to watch the video. More people are going to learn these concepts and just overall get more value and benefit from these videos. So make sure you like the video and also subscribe to the channel because I'm posting videos every single Monday and Friday. And I've been doing this streak for like months now and I haven't missed a single upload. So if you want to like watch these videos and get this content and learn more, make sure you subscribe because every single Monday and Friday, there's going to be a video without fail, right? So anyways, guys, make sure you like and subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video.